Hey everyone, welcome back to the special edition of this real estate broadcast, coronavirus edition, I guess you could call it. Today we are doing this episode actually in our backyard. So if you hear some nature going on, birds chirping in the back, puppies running up and down, it's such a beautiful day, and we've gone a little crazy sitting in the house. So we wanted to get some fresh air, sit in the backyard. But today's episode, I thought we'd do something a little different. Instead of being more informative, wanted to come up with some fun content for people to listen to, especially while everybody's hanging out inside and everything. So I thought it would be fun to do an episode on what's it like to date a real estate agent, or in this case, date and be engaged to one. So to help me with that, we actually have my fiancé, Sasha, as our special guest. So thanks for being here today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Well, I guess you didn't have anywhere else to go, but
That's true.
the backyard and everything.
I'm happy to participate.
So, okay. So, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what your job entails?
Sure. So I'm an Alaska Airlines flight attendant. I've been flying for closer to 4 years at this time. I personally was exposed to someone on the aircraft that tested positive for corona, so I too am doing my part by being completely quarantined at home. I've been knitting, I've been cooking, I've been cleaning, just trying to keep busy, whatever we can do to make the time go by. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives to my job. This is just kind of one of the smaller negatives, that we do have extreme exposure to serious illnesses, viruses, passengers being in close proximity for hours at a time. But yeah, so far so good.
And so you haven't been flying, obviously.
No,
Okay.
I have not been flying. I was asked not to fly to help the stay-at-home movement and to flatten the curve.
Okay. Well, I could tell you've done a good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
We've been hanging out pretty often the last couple weeks or so. So
Definitely a perk.
yeah, there's one of the work perks. So okay, you want to tell everybody how we were introduced?
Sure. So Brad and I shared mutual best friends, and they were obsessed with the idea of having us together. They thought it'd be fun because they were married. If we dated, they could hang out with each other and hang out with us. It actually happened twice. The first time we went for drinks, and Brad was too shy to talk to me, so he really didn't. Then about 2 years later, he had Clipper tickets, and he extended those ticket invites to those two best friends of ours, and I was the fourth ticket holder, so Brad likes to call me his placeholder. And
You were a seat filler.
a seat filler, my apologies, a seat filler. And from that day on, we've been together ever since. We are now engaged. We have a puppy together. He's my best friend. He's my number one support system, yet the person that talks the most booty to me. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
When she says that, she means just bagging on her,
Yes.
joking around and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, we do dog on each other a lot, but I think that's just our type of relationship. And if we can't make fun of each other, then it's not worth being together. It's not worth being together. So yeah, so we've been together a little over 5 years. What was your initial thoughts when I told you I was in real estate?
So on our first date, we went to Malibu and we went paddleboarding, and then we went to Paradise Cove and we had lunch outside, and you actually introduced a lot of information to me about being with a realtor. One of the things that you disclosed to me was that, hey, like when my phone rings, it's not personal, but I do need to take it. It's business, and it could be an incredibly important phone call. It could be a life-changing phone call. I am available to my clients pretty much 24/7, and that's something that if you're comfortable with, is going to play a role in our lifestyle together. And I completely understand. When I worked in retail, I too had to be available to my team, And it's just part of the job. And I think that you've done an incredible job of being really grounded. I know that in the, 5.5 years that we've been together, I could probably name like less than a handful of times that you've taken a phone call after 6 p.m. I don't find myself eating dinner alone. You're really good about separating business from pleasure. But I do understand that you need a lot of patience. One of the things you told me on that date too is that you personally are not a huge texter, that you don't have the time or the patience to be texting all day. So if you need to say anything to me, you're just going to call me. And it kind of broke the habit for me. I find that phone calls are a lot more personal nowadays. So I find myself calling my friends more than texting. So it definitely has helped me adapt to like just different ways of communication and taught me a lot.
As far as just the phone calls and not texting as much or being on the phone as much.
Yes.
I try really hard to not be on the phone, but it's part of the job. You mentioned 6. It's usually later than that. I'll obviously take phone calls and stuff, and if it's important and stuff like that, I'm obviously available to my clients, and yeah, you understand that, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, and being so understanding. And if we're on vacations, hey, I gotta go take this, and you go do your thing, whether it's we're hanging out at the pool, the beach, wherever it may be. You've always been really cool about it, actually, and that was our first date. That was one of the first times since I started selling I did not have a phone on me for 2 hours, and I felt so weird. I felt so weird without having it on me, but it was the best 2 hours. It was the fastest 2 hours of my life. And for the record, I was absolutely terrible that first day. I had to sit on the board the whole time. But we went out 2 weeks later, and your boy did not fall once. Give me props on that.
Very good.
Okay.
You did a great job.
So your expectations. So I laid out kind of the how my job is and what I do and everything like that. Has those expectations been met for you? Have they been exceeded? Have you felt differently about what I've told you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you were true to your word. Like when the phone rings, you do answer, and I think that that's important. I think that, if we're running errands and someone calls you and they're on speaker, it kind of gives me a little introduction to sometimes your clients, what they're going through, where they're at in the process. It's nice because I get to kind of be a part of it without literally being a part of it. For example, Evan was a client of yours, and he would be on speaker, and he became one of my favorite clients of yours because of how funny he was over the phone when we would be in the car. And now he's our officiant for our wedding. So, I mean, it's just kind of crazy how it all kind of incorporates into each other. But I think the expectations I had of you, I think you've done a great job of staying true to your word, and again, really separating your work life from personal life. And I think that that's super important to keep our relationship healthy and happy, as well as your work relationship healthy and happy.
What has Evan seen this video? We're gonna have to show him the video.
Yeah, we can show you the video, Evan, but I had told him when I met him on the phone that he was one of my favorites because he's so funny and so witty, and just the things he would say just had me cracking up, and I had to be really careful not to like laugh out loud because I didn't want to ruin the conversation or anything. But
okay. And then what is one of the biggest pet peeves you have when I work?
Oh my gosh, when I call you and you take my phone call and you are obviously extremely distracted, you'll be answering a text message or answering an email or doing something where you're definitely not paying attention to me, and then I get really annoyed and just tell you to call me back, and then you never want to call me back. You'd rather put me on hold or mute me until you're ready to talk. It just drives me insane.
That's a bad habit.
It's a terrible habit.
It's a bad habit, but
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not the worst, I guess, but
I mean, at least I keep you hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could have hung up on me and all that stuff, but at least you keep waiting. So I appreciate that. What's one of the best perks that we have in my job
I think our situation's incredibly unique that my job allows us to go on layovers like Hawaii or New York City or anywhere in the country, even outside the country. You came to Costa Rica with me for 48 hours. The fact that you have that flexibility to be mobile with your job. When we go on vacation, you can continue working if you need to. You can really be able to use the perks of my job as well as yours to make it fun on both sides. You know, we have the Wi-Fi in the air, so you're still able to connect with your clients. Yeah, it's a nice perk to be able to have that flexibility for us, and it's nice that you have such a great office, such a great team with Cheryl, Wells when she's there, Jennifer, Renee, your mom. It's just such a nice, and of course your dad. It's just always such a nice, comforting office to walk into. It's such a family, homey setting, and it's just so nice. Like, I've been so fortunate to be invited to all the Christmas parties that you guys do for the office, even though I don't technically work there. I still feel like I'm part of the family and part of the office, and it's just so nice to have like a job away from your job.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. The traveling perks that we have because of your job are amazing. I know people are pretty jealous of it, and I joke with clients a lot, and I'll say, hey, I'll fly us to San Francisco for lunch, and we'll fly back for the day. And everybody's always down for it and everything, just haven't been able to do it yet. But the capability of being able to just I guess you could say up and leave. You know, we've had days where it's like, you know what, I don't have anything really to do today as far as meeting anybody. Let's just go away for 2 days.
And I think it's kind of a running joke between you and I too, that when I check what's available for me to pick up and fly, that sometimes I'll just be like, hey, are you busy the next couple days? And you'll look at your schedule and be like, actually, I'm not. I'm able to do something. What are you thinking? And then, you know, when you came to Costa Rica with me for 2 days, that was kind of a more spontaneous trip, or Honolulu and stuff. And we're just getting started. So I think that it's nice to have that in our pocket.
And that the Costa Rica one was actually, both are pretty different, because Costa Rica, we didn't even leave the resort, and we were there for almost 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good and so inexpensive, because I get to stay with you without having to pay anything, and I was just paying for the food. But the food at the resort, surprisingly, was actually pretty inexpensive. And then Hawaii was awesome, because I was there for 20 hours. People thought I was crazy for just up and leaving. You know, it was a 6-hour flight there,
Mm-hmm.
and then less than 5 coming home, because we had such a gnarly tailwind. But all we did, I'm like, hey, I just want to go try some food, because you had a couple of specific spots you really wanted to go eat, and I was all down for it. And ever since then, we went in December. All I've been craving ever since is ramen from that same place we went to. So we're gonna have to go back here soon, when everything calms down, of course. We'll go back out there and go get some ramen and everything like that. So, best story that you could come up with. What do you think? As far as me being in real estate, it's kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Let me think about it. I know that you want to tell the Castaway story,
Okay.
so you tell that one.
So we were
dating.
dating. What were we dating? 5?
years?
No, I didn't even think it was 2 years. I think it was maybe only a few months. All right, we'll guess maybe a year, maybe. We went to dinner at Castaway. It was a Friday or Saturday night, and we were just finishing up. I had 3 phone calls in a row from the same number, and it's about 9 o'clock at night, if I didn't mention that. And they wouldn't leave a voicemail, and they finally left a voicemail, and it was an agent wanting to show a property the very next day, but not until 4:30 in the afternoon. And in the MLS, it said the seller only needs a 1-hour notice. So even at 9 o'clock at night, if I were to answer the phone, I would have said, yeah, I'll call the seller first thing in the morning. So I called the seller first thing in the morning, asked if it was okay, and they said yeah. And I called the agent back, and the agent was pretty upset I didn't call him back right away. the night prior at 9:30 at night. And to play it off, I actually told her, I said, by the way, when you called, we were doing a recording. I was proposing to my girlfriend, and you called, and it ruined my video. So because of you, I don't have a video, so thank you very much. And she actually had the nerve to sit there and say, well, your girlfriend should know that you're in real estate, and we don't have time for that. And I was livid beyond belief. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, dude, don't take yourself so seriously. It was really funny, and we were making fun of it and making fun of her afterwards. But I couldn't believe somebody actually sat there and said that. I would have, if somebody told me that, I would have apologized greatly, and but I would never have taken a video on my phone for the proposal. Would have done something different. But it just some people, it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that was one of my, I thought, funniest stories. But the lady was just crazy.
I think I remember mine. I don't know if you're gonna love it, but it was funny. So you had done an open house, and this is a couple years ago, and you called me, and you were so upset because someone stole one of your open house signs with your face on it. And you literally asked me, in all seriousness, if I stole it. And I couldn't stop laughing because I think you think I'm crazy enough that I would steal it and put it in a shrine of you, which I probably would, but I didn't. So someone else has your picture probably in a shrine somewhere.
That was the old one too, because I just recently had another one stolen 2 weeks ago. No, not quite 2 weeks ago. Probably about a month ago, a little over a month ago, whatever it was. And the problem was there was 4 other signs out in that same corner.
And it wasn't me.
Why was my sign gone and nobody else's sign gone? And I had one right across the street, and that was still there.
I don't know. Someone else is shrine of you.
Maybe. I hope so. But those things are not cheap. Those signs are a couple $100 each sign. So
I just thought it was hilarious that you actually honestly thought that it was me because I'm so obsessed with you, which isn't a bad thing, but I really didn't steal yours.
Well, I was just hopeful. I was just hopeful somebody had my sign. But yeah, I'm pretty mad. I'm still mad about that. Those things are not cheap to get. But good to know that you still don't have my sign. So I'm still looking for 2 signs. So if you guys see any random signs out there, please call me. I'll be more than happy to come pick them up. So thank you for being here today.
You're so welcome.
I know you didn't have anywhere to really go. Neither did I. So yeah, just thought it'd be something different, something fun to give people who are interested in the real estate what the significant other thinks and feels about it. And this is a time where a lot of families should be spending time together, and you need just a little getaway. We didn't make it very long, but I figured it'd just be something interesting and unique to try. And I think maybe over the next week or so we're going to try and come up with some other content to come out for everybody and listen to, and see if we could get something still a little real estate related. But if not, we might just have something fun. It's something for us to do as well. I'm so bored of watching or trying to find something on Netflix. I mean, last night we looked for 45 minutes, couldn't find anything.
And I started knitting.
You started knitting, and then I resorted to playing video games at 11 o'clock at night because I just couldn't go to bed. I was too bored to even go to bed. So.
But I will say, as I'm thinking about it, one of my favorite things watching you in action is how passionate you are about your clients. And one of my favorite things as well is when I get to go with you to deliver the keys, and I just get to see the joy in those people's eyes and hearts. And this is a dream come true, and knowing that I'm with you and you are helping people's dreams come true, like buying their dream home. It's really incredibly heartwarming, fascinating, and just really beautiful to watch you make people's dreams come true. Not every deal obviously goes swiftly, but I think it's the passion and the drive that you have that really makes you successful and makes people want to talk to you and work with you even more than ever.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. And it is 95% of the time fun. It is definitely a tough industry. For every 20 clients that you have that are amazing, there's the one that's really tough and takes all your energy out. But I do appreciate you being the support system I need, and it does make it more worth it entertaining. So appreciate you guys listening. Anything else you might want to add?
I hope this podcast gets the most views and the best ratings.
Well, we'll see. We'll pump it out there and blast it on social media and everything and all that. Take care, everybody. Please stay safe. Please stay inside. Let's get through this. It's not just one of us. It's all of us. We just need to do our part.
Stay home.
Yeah. Enjoy each other's company. And
start knitting.
Start knitting. Find me on 2K online. I also have MLB The Show for any baseball lovers. So if anybody wants to start gaming, let me know. I'm not into any of the other stuff. I'm not very good at it. Sasha watches me play the basketball games a lot, and she cheers me on, especially when I'm playing with friends. So everybody take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.